Hello and welcome back to Automation Answers, still in Atlanta, Georgia at the Modex event. And with me today is none other than Stan from Exotec, the Managing Director of US. So Stan, firstly, pleasure having you on. I know you're busy. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, Isaac. Thanks for having me.
No worries. How's things? How's the event? Lots of walking, seeing some cool stuff?
Great. So we're on the second day. It's the afternoon of the event. We had a good turnout yesterday, and yeah, today's been crazy. It's packed. We had tons of visitors at the booth, a lot of customers, so
awesome.
Things are well.
Yeah, cool, good stuff. And have you seen any other, aside from Exotec, your business, any other cool stuff, any cool technologies you've seen?
There's a lot of cool techs out there, a lot in robotics, for sure. I think the difference with previous years is, let's say 4 years ago, we saw a lot of robotic companies emerging with small booths, small techs, and what we're seeing today is, the ones that made it. So they have large booths, they're very visible, and that's good for the industry. I would say the coolest thing I've seen out there today is a company that does warehouse inventories with drones. And they have this amazing booth. You see it with three drones flying around and scanning pallet barcodes. That's pretty cool.
Awesome, cool, good to hear. And the subject of today's podcast will be around launching a successful business in a very short space of time. I think it was quite funny. I won't refer to you as a startup, but I think it's, being a business less than 10 years old, you could be within that realm.
Can qualify.
you do qualify. But what's really fascinating is your business launched in Lille in France in 2015. I think May 2023 last year. You received, was it
2022? Yeah,
2022, beg your pardon. So you received the Series D funding, around 300 million, taking you to a valuation of $2 billion as a global business in less than 10 years. So how'd you do that?
Yeah, that was really a major milestone for Exotec. Not only in our capacity to fund our R&D and to keep developing ourselves globally, but also in terms of, recognition from the investors, but also from customers on our capacity to develop and also to deliver those solutions that we sell. So, and I think what was successful was, for us, not just the amount that was raised, but also the partners that we were able to onboard. So we had Goldman Sachs in particular. And really the history behind that is, they were looking to invest in robotics, but they were also looking for a robotics company that has, proven hardware, and that has, strong industrial capacity to manufacture and deploy solutions. And that's what they saw in us, in comparison with a lot of other companies that they audited. So we were really proud of that, and definitely it's been a huge milestone for us. And now we're just
sky's the
continuing
limit.
our growth.
Awesome. And you mentioned there, obviously, your investors, they audited other companies and yourself as well. And I mentioned on the previous podcast, the Modex show is so big. There's companies everywhere. How do you define what is your USP, and how do you get it out there, right? Why is someone going to you and not 50 of the other robotics businesses that are out there? How do you get yourself in that space?
Yeah, that's a good question, and that's the one question that we get on the floor, all day long. So easy answer.
Okay.
No, we have our key system is the SkyPod system. It's based on a technology of 3D robots that drive on the floor of the warehouse. They climb up the racks, they get the products, they bring them to stations where operators will pick the products and prepare the orders for the customers. So it has many advantages. The first one is it's a robotics technology. So it's very flexible in terms of performance, throughput. You can add, remove robots. It's also very quick to deploy, to install for customers. So we have a very reduced installation times compared to, I would say, traditional automation. That's a big plus for our customers, because when they decide, when they make the decision for their investment, they have an ROI in mind. They have a starting date, that they need for their operations, and we're able to deliver on that. Other advantages of our system are, of course, the density. We can go up to 12 meters, 38 feet. For customers that have had previously manual operation or other types of automation with low density, it's a huge improvement in terms of how they can use the square footage of their warehouse. So that's that. And another key advantage is the scalability of the solution. Because when you look at our system, so we have a rack where we store the system, and it's purely passive. There's no mechanical components or electricity in the rack, and that allows us to really expand systems while keeping operations live for our customers.
Understood. Okay.
So we build it outside of the system, and then we expand the system. We put in new robots.
Yeah.
So it's really flexibility, performance, storage density, and scalability.
Yeah, because I assume as well, a lot of the other integrators, you have to kind of shut off part of the warehouse, which affects the operations from a customer point of view while you're doing that expansion, right? But if, like you said, if you don't have the electrical mechanical components, then you can carry on while operations are live. So
we really try to minimize, disruption of operations for our customers, whether it's with the initial deployment of the system, and that's where our short installation times are really useful and beneficial for them, or be it during expansion of systems.
Yeah, of course. And if I can dive into that, maybe as a question for Shamil in the marketing team who couldn't be here. You've got this great product. I think that's obviously clear with the valuation that you've got to this date. It's a very, very impressive product. With other companies, let's say, that also launched in 2015, 2016, around that era, they've also got amazing products. So how do you, I know you've got some great case studies with like CV Logistics, Decathlon, Geodis, etc. How do you physically get that out to market? I know you've got trade shows, you've got a great exhibition, but I guess it's one thing having a great product, another thing getting it out there, right?
So and as we grow, as we develop, we also learn more and more how to market our products. So one of the latest initiatives we put out there is our Exo Tours. So this is an initiative from our business development team, and what it is we have 12 dates throughout the year, and we organize these tours of our key customer sites, and it's open invitations. Anyone can join. And it's proven very successful, especially in the US. Because we've only been operating in the US for 3 years. So even though we're very big in Europe, some US customers want to see live systems before they can trust us, and make the decision to invest. And those Exo Tours, first of all, it's really helped us to just streamline that process of organizing visits to customer sites, but also it's allowed our prospects to talk directly to end customers who have been using the solution, and usually, all of them, they're massive adopters of our technologies, and they just do the sales for us. So that's been working really well.
Okay. Oh, that's awesome to hear. Like you said, I guess it's a lot more personal than just going, right, here's a PDF document, here's a YouTube video. You can say, there you go, here's our site, talk to the customer. And here it is, you see it in the flesh, so. And
because then during these visits, we don't just focus on the technical side of the product, putting out the features. It's just about customers' trust.
Of course.
And they meet customers, who have trusted us and are happy with the results. So that really helps to convince them.
Ah, awesome. Good to hear.
That works well,
Yeah, of course. And then piggybacking off what you just mentioned there, about the US, obviously, like you said, you've got the Exo Tours. What's the plan for I guess yourself personally and for Exotec in the US in the next, 5 years?
So the US is on the midterm going to be our number one market globally for the company, and we've already seen the strong growth we had over the past 3 years. So we started, I think our first year of revenue was 2021, and since then we've doubled every year in terms of sales. And globally, at Exotec, I think it's this week we're announcing it. We've hit this milestone of our first $1 billion of sales since the beginning of the company. So that's a major milestone for us. And that shows, our track record, and it shows to the market that, we've reached that point. We have customers that trust us. We have a lot of customers with recurring business for us. So that's really good. And the US is going to be huge for us, in the coming years in terms of growth, customer development. So we have definitely that coming. And we're also developing our partner channel in the US. So Exotec has a sort of hybrid model where we sell direct to customers, and we also develop partnerships with integrator companies. So in the US we have High Tech, Bastion, and it's going really well, both of them. And we, will look to maybe expand that network in 2024 or in 2025. So that's those are usually exciting partnerships. And we try to build those with strong brands on the market, who already have big network who are trusted by their customers. So that's really what we're looking for.
Yeah. And when's the $2 billion sales figure? When's that coming? When do you want it to come?
So our first sale was in 2017. So it took us roughly 7 years to reach that. I would expect 2 to 3 more years with the second billion.
Yeah, awesome.
Max.
Good to hear. And as well, I think what's really fascinating, I won't mention names, but a lot of these large startups, you get a lot of customer wins. You obviously have to expand at a very, very rapid rate. Again, without naming names, there's a few companies that have scaled up at Modex. They're at a huge phase. They've got a huge team of hundreds of individuals that they've hired for one customer project. And then once that project is finished, the need kind of plateaus. You even have like layoffs, redundancies, especially in the tech, more software space. There's a lot of that with like Google, Meta, etc. Amazon as well made a lot of layoffs. How do you ensure that, I guess that's not happening in your business?
So I would say the first thing that helps, to prevent this kind of dynamic is to build recurring business with customers. Now, I know 2023 was a tough year for the industry, basically a flat year across the industry. That hit a lot of companies, but fortunately for us, we've been able to avoid that, and we've kept growing and we've kept selling more and more systems. So that's a good thing for us. But definitely recurring business, helps to prevent that.
Yeah.
In our case, so I can talk specifically about the US for that because we've seen strong growth, and so just what you mentioned, recruiting, building teams. When you double every year, you plan for growth, and if that slows down as a company, we're not necessarily ready for that.
Of course, yeah.
So how we try to do it is we've built, a strong core of really competent people that we've hired over the past 3 years, who we've trained, who are very skilled, whether be in sales, in system deployment, in system maintenance, in marketing, across all those functions, and I would say, the main functions that are impacted by strong growth, the first one is, of course, sales.
Yeah.
And, with some delay, then deployments, because they're driven by sales. And then with another delay, maintenance. The sales team, that's, the one that really is important to dimension correctly according to, market ambitions. So that's what we're doing. And then for the deployment team, so that's, project management, hardware, software engineers, all of that. We've built that strong core team, and to grow, but to also stay on the safe side of things. Yeah. We're looking to develop that core team, but also work with partners for outsourcing specific types of resources for specific projects, maybe for some software developments, and so on. And the other thing is we work with integrators. Of course. And that really helps us to grow on the market. But not necessarily doing everything ourselves.
Yeah.
And that's been a strong component of our growth in the US. Yeah. And we expect that to be the case for the next years.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I think you're right. You got to find that balance, right? I think as soon as you take that, I know a lot of companies, you want the control, you want to do everything. Everyone wants the control. You want to do everything yourselves as much as possible, of course. But then, like you said, with Google, Amazon, and some of the tech layoffs, I know not necessarily in intralogistics. If you do that all yourself and don't outsource some of it, then when that customer demand plateaus or even drops slightly, then you've got, I don't know, a team of 200 people that you can't keep busy, right? And then that's certainly not what.
Yeah, we've never had, that case.
Of course.
And I don't expect to see that in the coming years, but of course. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, of course. No.
Nobody wants to see that.
Of course, yeah. And where do you see as well, maybe outside or even within Exotec as well, in terms of development of new systems, automation, robotics? What do you expect to see? I think when we're talking off camera, you got a lot of humanoids. I think in one of the booths, you got agility robots of like the humanoids and things like that, and a lot of more AI, of course. Do you see this? Do you see, maybe in 5 years you walk around a warehouse, you'll see the Exotec Skypod, maybe a more advanced system at that point, and then do you expect to see a humanoid taking some of the products around as well, or something like that?
Yeah, so it's true that when you walk around the floor of the Modex, you see a lot of different techs, and I think what customers are trying to do is some of them are trying to solve process problems in the warehouse. Like they'll see a problem here and they'll see a problem there, and they'll try to find just the right solution to fix that little problem, independently of the rest of the warehouse. So they may go for solutions that are more collaborative with humans, so not going all the way of 100% automation. Our position, I mean, our products, we're trying to reach a very high level of automation.
Okay.
And that's why when you look at the Skypod system, it's not a humanoid. They're robots that drive and climb in the system, and it's a fleet, actually. They work as a fleet. And it's not a collaborative system in the sense that it's separated from human actions. And that's really what allows us to drive and reach, high performance
of course.
In the systems, whether it's in terms of throughput, in terms of reliability as well. So I guess, when you see all the different techs out there for customers, it can be challenging to find the right one for the right solution. And I think we see that with some customers. They're trying to go for, some other tech that looks cool, like humanoids. But really, that's where, they can work with consultants or directly with system providers, and they have to find the right type of partners that are, going to approach their problems for, looking at the full warehouse end to end and trying to find the best optimized solution rather than looking at little processes and finding the cool solution that is going to fix that little corner of their warehouse. Lots of solutions, lots of techs. But it's exciting.
It is, but I think you're right. I think probably the market as well, like I touched on earlier, we walk around Modex, there's all these companies. I personally think that's going to shrink a little bit. I think, like you said, there's a solution for every single minute problem. I think Boston Dynamics, I think they've got a great business model. They've got like the RoboDog. I don't know if that's the technical term for it. I think it's brilliant. I think it's really cool. I'm not a technical person myself, so I look at that and go, that's brilliant. That's awesome. Is there really a use case for it though? I don't know. I know obviously there is, and they use it for to patrol and for like security purposes. I think it's good, but to me, I'm not an end customer, but I look at that going, that's a very, very expensive piece of engineering. It's brilliant, but that's solving a very, very, very niche problem,
Yeah, so I've never used one personally, but I think that one is interesting because they have, come up with a robot that matches, like a dog. And I think it's a case where users may find use cases that they have not thought about.
Yeah, true.
So I think it's interesting, and it's great that there are companies out there, developing solutions or products that have found some of their applications, but where users can find others. In terms of warehouse logistics, we want to avoid that. When we go to customers, we look at their problems, and we need to come up with the right solution. Of course, purely dimension to their issue and to solve their problem. So
of course. And you need, to hopefully give them the full solution, not just one specific niche thing to one problem. The customer, obviously, the niche problems are important, but you've got to take a step back, and rather than just focus on one really, really niche, you've got to step back and go, here's the solution to your whole problem. So
and the other aspect to that is when you start looking at the full warehouse, then you start designing solutions for your customers that they can replicate across other warehouses.
Of course.
If they're willing to take that high level approach of building their network in a very efficient manner. Whereas if they're, trying to solve little piece of processes in the warehouse, that's difficult to replicate across the network. Most of the time.
Yeah, awesome. And I guess going back mainly to the subject of the conversation about Exotec, the growth and how you get to where you are in the business. I think when we mentioned, but before we were filming about the Skynet that you guys offer along with the Skypod system, in terms of the WMS systems, I'm not a technical engineer, but you can log in remotely, right? And you can solve a lot of issues, well, pretty much from anywhere in the world. I guess, how does that work, and what other solutions are coming from Exotec, if you can disclose some of them?
So Exotec as a company, the ambition of the company is to solve, the automation of the full warehouse through innovation. So that's from the arrival of the products to the shipping of the products. And we're building it brick by brick, and with how we know how to do it, which is software and robotics. So the Skypod system was the first brick, in that end-to-end suite of solutions. And last year we released two other key products for us. One is the SkyPath, so it's our own conveyor line. It's a very modular and flexible line of conveyor, which is software-driven. What that means is we don't use PLCs, we use software, so it's the same skill set for our engineers, and it's the same people that work on the robots that can also develop, our SkyPath system. We've actually sold already a couple of systems in the US using that technology. This year. So it's really our first introduction of that product on the market. And the other product that we came out with last year is Deep Sky. So it's our warehouse control system.
Sorry, not Sky. Yeah,
not Skynet.
It's Skynet. Sorry, yeah,
that's another movie.
Yeah. Deep Sky,
and that warehouse control system is the software layer that we put between a customer's WMS and all our products. And with it, we can also integrate third-party equipment, and that allows us not just to be a product company on the market, but to be a full end-to-end integrator.
Of course, yeah.
And integrate our product and third-party equipment for our customers to start proposing that full system for the warehouse that will complete over time with our own products.
Yeah, awesome. And then I guess probably concluding the conversation and wrapping that all in. I know you touched on it earlier in terms of the automation, in terms of the business values, in terms of the project and company trajectory. But where do you see Exotec in 5 years? Where do you want to be?
Oh, it's difficult to answer that one because it's a company that changes face every year. So I've been with Exotec for 5 years, and when I joined the company in 2019, there were only 50 people. We had only 2 running systems in France with customers. We were only in France. Yeah. And 5 years later, we're all over Europe. We're in Japan. We're currently expanding in South Korea. We're in the US and Canada. Just the team in the US and in Japan, each of them are bigger than the whole company was when 5 years ago when I joined. So it's a very fast-growing company. Definitely, the future holds good things for us. Hopefully, we keep that growth with triple or double digits.
Fingers crossed.
And as I said, we're a product company, so our ambition is to keep innovating. We actually allocate 10 to 15% of our revenue to our R&D annually. I think the industry standard is 2 to 3%. So innovation is it's in our DNA and it's really important for us. And that's what is going to drive a lot of what we're going to see in the next 5 years, which is new products, new capacities, and a bigger reach on the market in terms of what we can propose to customers with our own products.
Yeah, awesome, brilliant. Well, that's exciting. I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward to working with you on that as well. And thanks everyone for watching. I really appreciate your time, Stan. I know you're super busy. Thanks for coming along.
Yeah.
Anyone that is watching soon or hasn't, go check out Exotec at Modex. You'll be at Logimat as well. Not you personally, but Exotec will be at Logimat next week. So go check them out. And sky is the limit for you guys. So looking forward to it. Sky Pod is the limit. And thanks for watching. See you soon.
Thank you very much.
Cheers.